YMCA. Snap a picture with Santa. Play reindeer games. Get your face painted or fun balloon. This event is made possible by the Fergus Falls YMCA, Big Boys Painting, American Federal Bank, and Fergus Falls Monument. You don't want to miss the Candy Cane and Cocoa Party.
It's Morning Talk on News Talk 1250 KBRF, brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
Every once in a while, the camera just does not want to operate correctly, but we got her going, and it is a 10 after 9, and it is a good just before the snowpocalypse Tuesday morning. And Mary, I don't know if it's going to be a full-on snowpocalypse, but we're gonna see some white stuff.
Well, there's some light stuff out there right now, and I just got to tell you, I'm going to have to get into the right mode because, once again, I left with just a vest on. I didn't, there's, with all the prompting yesterday of make sure you have your scraper in your car and your brush and whatever. Yeah. So don't have any of that in my car. So, you know what? I did see a handy gadget, though, advertised. And, those handy gadgets usually don't work like they appear that they might. But it looks like it's just this, little handheld thing, not very big. Looks like an oversized lighter.
Okay.
And all you do is grab that lighter, and it blows all the snow off your car. And it looked like it just blew it away fast.
What?
Now, this would be good for light, fluffy snow.
I was going to say, that looks like something you just take a brush to and just...
I know. But would be easier to have that in my, in the console of my car rather than that big dumb brush. But anyway, I will put that in there today. In fact, when I leave here, I'm going home to get the brush and a jacket. And prepare for winter.
That makes sense. It's supposed to start up about the time we get off the air.
Okay.
At 10 o'clock. It's supposed to get a little interesting. Let's actually go to the KBRF color weather radar system. Hit the wrong button. Now let's go. We're looking at a little bit of snow forming up. We're looking at a little bit of snow forming up here as it's about Rothsay. It seems to be Rothsay, Wahpeton, Breck seems to be the line. So it's
close.
It's getting here.
Yeah, it is. And it looks like it's going to stick around throughout the day. So make sure that you are prepared for that, unlike me. And I've got, I don't have, I've started, wearing socks and shoes. So that's good.
That's always good.
It's a start.
It's a bonus.
Do you know what? How many other people I have talked to just over the weekend, they're like, yep, can't do it yet. Still barefoot in my shoes. And I'm like, oh, you are my people. Of course, over the weekend, it was easy to do that because it was beautiful.
Yep.
I did do one thing in preparation. John and I went out to the shed that's in the back of our yard and got all the Christmas stuff out and brought it into the house. So now, even if it's just a little bit of snow, I don't have to walk through the snow to get my stuff. So it's all ready.
I've got the snowblower ready. We generally don't put up too much Christmas. Jen's got the lights up on the house. She did that. She had a day off earlier this week, or last week, and so she worked on that. And then outside of that, just getting ready for a Christmas tree. If anybody knows, are the Boy Scouts doing Christmas trees?
We keep asking that question, and nobody
lets us know. So
I know that's. I actually am going to have 2 trees this year.
Yep.
Both of mine are artificial, but they're pre-lit. They're easy to put up. And I had gotten one of those tall, slender ones for my mom last year because she had moved into an assisted living and just didn't have room for her big tree.
Yeah.
So we had donated that to someone, and so now I have this extra tree. And I thought, well, I've got 2 floors that we live on. I'm just going to have Christmas on 2 floors this year.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, and I got a really, really cool gift yesterday that was just a real, I don't know how to describe it, you would probably look at it and say, oh, that's a Charlie Brown tree, but it's actually a sparse decorative tree.
Sparse?
Well, I mean,
air quotes there on the sparse, otherwise known as Charlie Brown?
Kinda. It's not really Charlie Brown. It's not just like one thing like Charlie Brown tree, but It's very, very simple, very subtle way to decorate for winter, and I love it. So I might go and try to find a couple more of those for other gifts, and I know it was bought here locally, so I know I can go get that, and I love mine. So every year we do a favorite things party with 2 of my friends, and this has become my new winter decorating favorite.
Okay.
So I'm going to go grab 2 more of those, and that's going to be my favorite thing this year. So hopefully they're not tuned in today. I doubt it. So
I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving, and I bought an expensive brine. I usually go with the cheap ones, but there's a company called Meat Church that I really like. I like their rubs for everything from ribs to smoke brisket to pulled pork. I love their stuff, so I'm like, I'm gonna get their brine. I checked it out yesterday. I started opening the box. It even came with the Holy Voodoo seasoning that I really like. And it doesn't come with a brine bag. So it's like, are you kidding me?
Oh, no.
You're paying that much and it doesn't even come with a bag. So I got to go find a bag today.
Well, that's a bummer. I did see some really cool, when you talk about, your smoking and all your cooking outside, makes me think of, some potential gift ideas for other people. And there's some really cool things out there. If you know somebody who loves to use the smoker, loves to use the grill, one of the things I saw that I thought was really kind of cool, it's, I don't know what they call it, but basically it's when you take your meat off the grill and you are letting it rest.
Yep.
There's it looks like a computer sleeve, and you just stick it in there and zip it up, and it maintains the heat, but it allows your meat to rest while keeping it warm. And I thought, for somebody who really loves to grill or loves to smoke, that might be a good idea. I also saw another thing that was stacking, and they're all collapsible, but they're very heavy. Sometimes collapsible stuff isn't so great because it collapses when you don't want it to. But this is a heavier duty collapsible, and there's 3 of them, and they're tubs about maybe a foot deep, and 3 different sizes of tubs where you can put your meat when you're going out to the smoker.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So I thought of you when I saw that, because you really love to use that smoker, and I thought that could be a good gift for somebody, and that's grown into kind of a popular pastime for people.
The old joke is once you hit 40, you either get into smoked meats or World War II.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so if you've got somebody who's really into smoked meats, there's a couple of good Christmas gift ideas for you, because I saw those and I thought, I bet that would be good. Today, just heads up, a little bit later in the show, 9:35, we're going to have Dan Lambert, who is going to tell us about the U.S. Naval Academy, and he's got a long history there, and I'm going to let those guys talk about their ranks and their backgrounds, and also Midshipman Avery Brown. And they're here basically to talk about the U.S. Naval Academy and recruitment for that. And they're going to tell us more about that. I think it's going to be very interesting. So I see that they are both here.
Yep.
So coming up at 9:35, we're going to visit with Dan and Avery about the U.S. Naval Academy. And if you or someone you know, or maybe a son or grandson or granddaughter would be interested in finding out more about the U.S. Naval Academy, that's exactly what we're going to do today.
I'm trying to think if I know anybody who went to Annapolis. I know several people that went to West Point, but I'm not sure about Annapolis, where the U.S. Naval Academy is.
Yeah. So I think that will be interesting, and glad to have them both in-house with us today.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. So we'll do that at 9:35, so hang around for that. Well, what do you think about this? Federal judge has dismissed the criminal cases for former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Shocker.
I think they rushed everything, and so they were not prepared.
Well, and now what they're saying is that the person that they appointed, that President Trump appointed as prosecutor, that was unlawful for her to be the one to try these cases. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. We're not trying it, but to be the prosecutor in those cases. So evidently there's something about her and where she came from, and what credentials you need to be able to do this kind of thing. Anyway, so they're calling stop to that. Now, will it stop? Absolutely not. Pam Bondi says we will do everything we can to, including an appeal. So, but it was just under the wire for statute of limitations for Comey. So, and it's no surprise that both these people are, they're trying to let them off
They're both
the hook.
slimy.
Yeah. So anyway, the DOJ may appeal or refile the charges. Comey and James had, of course, pleaded not guilty, but I have a feeling, and Comey even said so himself, he said the president is not done coming after me, and I think he's absolutely right, for lots of good reasons. The DOJ has asked 2 judges in New York Southern District to approve the release of grand jury transcripts and exhibits from the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell cases. The request follows the new law passed last week, which requires the files release within 30 days. The DOJ also requested an expedited ruling and said it will work with prosecutors to remove victim and personal information. This is interesting. Did you see the video that surfaced over the weekend, or maybe it was late last week, of a number of Democrats saying to the military, you don't have to follow illegal orders? And that was pretty bold, and it might come back to bite at least one of them. The Pentagon has launched an investigation into Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona, following that video that he and other Democrat veterans posted urging service members to reject illegal orders. President Trump called the video seditious behavior punishable by death. Now, that may have gone just a bit too far, but we all know President Trump. However, U.S. soldiers are obligated to refuse illegal orders. Now, I don't know who makes the decision on whether or not that order is legal or otherwise. Anyway, Mark Kelly, a retired Navy pilot and former astronaut, has not commented, but there is the potential that he would be reinstated and then would be court-martialed. So that's down the road a long ways, I think, but it is a possibility. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said Monday that recognizing Russian control over seized eastern territories remains the main problem in peace talks, and there is anything but peace in that region. Kyiv just got blasted again over the last couple of days. The issue surfaced as President Trump seeks a deal to end Moscow's nearly 4-year war on Ukraine. U.S. and Ukrainian officials met in Switzerland to review a 28-point plan that was proposed by the White House. And as soon as those guys left town, the bombing began again. Virginia State Police have launched a statewide search for Travis Turner, the 46-year-old head coach of Union High School's undefeated football team. Officials said Turner disappeared Thursday while under law enforcement investigations. Agents had visited his home Thursday, but found that he was gone. Turner's team, the Union Bears, improved to 12-0 after defeating Graham High School last weekend. I hadn't heard anything about this, so I don't know what the charges are there, but this is in Virginia, and over this 46-year-old head coach. So it doesn't say exactly what he did here, but he is on the lam, it seems. So going to look for them. Okay, we've heard so much about AI, and you and I have talked about AI in so many different ways. But AI now is getting integrated into one more area of the airline industry, and that is baggage handling.
Uh-oh.
Well, so far they say that AI's addition to what they were already doing has improved baggage handling and loss of bags by 33%. So that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
And here's the good part, and this is the part I like the most. They were asked, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was asked, will this replace these guys who are running around with those little trailers with all the luggage on them from, plane to plane? And he said, absolutely not. It is just going to be in addition, and it will be higher efficiency and a better way for people not to lose luggage in between flights when they have, connecting flights. I didn't realize, they interviewed one of the guys on the ground, and he literally has this trailer behind him, and he goes between 155 gates for Delta.
Wow.
On the ground in Atlanta. Now, of course, that's their hub and their biggest airport. But, yeah, he travels between 155 gates to make sure that the right bag gets on the right plane. Now, I would have thought there has to be a higher efficiency way, but once in a while something gets misplaced, and he's the guy that's going to get it on the right plane. So he was all for the AI because he said it's going to make it a lot more efficient and a lot easier with a lot less trips from gate to gate delivering and picking up bags. So if you are traveling, today,
good luck.
Holiday, I'm just saying good luck because it's going to be ugly out there. And then you take millions and millions of people flying or driving, and then add bad weather because it's all over the place. Atlanta is going to be one of those places that's going to be hit with bad weather, and up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, of course. And so anyway, it could be a real snag for your travel over the holidays. So if you are traveling, sorry about that. I'm so glad I have to go like 10 miles. So
yeah, I've got to go about 8 blocks.
Yeah, you should make it. Not a problem. Let's see. So back to AI for a moment. Artificial intelligence generates over 50% of online articles. So what you're reading, somebody else is creating. I just spoke to someone who put all the details that they wanted in their mother's obituary into AI, and AI wrote the obituary.
Really?
Something else, I was with someone last night who has applied for a job, got an email that said, hey, we'd like to do an in-person interview. Does next week work? And he went right to AI to generate a professional response. Now, for me, maybe it's, well, not maybe, it's my age. I don't just automatically go to AI.
No.
I feel like I can write a response all by myself and still sound professional. But I'll tell you what, you and I write a lot of copy to be recorded. A lot of people aren't writing their own copy anymore because you plug in 3 details and let AI do the rest. So anyway, it's taken over, people. And if you think you can close that hatch on Pandora's box, I think that ship has sailed. So anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about the U.S. Naval Academy with Dan Lambert and Midshipman Avery Bowen. So stay with us for the second half of the show, coming up on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
This is it. After 40 years, Pine Plaza Appliance is saying goodbye. They're going out of business and need to clear out their remaining inventory of washers, dryers, fridges, and more. Everything must go. Get the biggest savings of your life before the doors close forever. Stop into Pine Plaza Appliance.
Gratitude runs deep when every day reflects who you are. At Pioneer Care, residents guide their own routines surrounded by warmth and familiar faces. Because having a voice each day is what peace of mind feels like. Pioneer Care in Fergus Falls. Visit pioneercare.org for more information.
Winter weather can change quickly and can be hazardous. Listen to News Talk 1250 KBRF for the latest weather-related postponements and cancellations. Brought to you by John's Heating and Air Conditioning and Northwest Tire. Schools, businesses, churches, and events. You can find postponements and cancellations on KBRFradio.com as well. And the Fergus Now app. Weather-related announcements. Brought to you by Northwest Tire and John's Heating and Air Conditioning.
KBRF presents Where to Eat. The culinary adventure is sponsored by Dandelion and Burdock and Service Food in Fergus Falls.
Hi, I'm Zach Daniels.
And I'm Dave Bishop, your guide to the region's culinary treasures.
Join us as we explore various restaurants, uncover delicious meals, and highlight each restaurant's signature dish.
Experience diverse cuisine types, unique atmospheres, and must-try dishes. Check it out on KBRFradio.com and the Fergus Now app.
New episodes air every first Friday of the month. Where to Eat, powered by Dandelion and Burdock and Service Food of Fergus Falls.
Local farmers. Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company in Fergus Falls currently has open slots and accepting animals. They take the hassle out of processing and butchering your livestock. From custom cuts to expert butchering, they handle it all with care and precision. Serving Fergus Falls of the Lakes area, they're proud to support local farmers like you. Call or visit Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company today to schedule your meat processing. Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company, where quality meets tradition on Highway 210 East.
Find out why the markets are moving. Get in-depth ag information with the Red River Farm Network on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Good morning. Market update time here on the Red River Farm Network. I'm Tyler Donaldson. Grains markets trading mixed here to start out the day. Corn slightly higher in all three of those contracts, however. Total Farm Marketing market analyst Lawrence Kane says the drop in government reporting from the government shutdown is still being felt throughout the grains markets.
Fundamentally, little has changed in the last 24 hours. I think grain market is struggling somewhat from the lack of current USDA sales reports. You know, we got a sales report, but it was from a week early October. So I think we're struggling with the information we have. The supply and demand report from a while back, you know, certainly wasn't bullish for anybody. And South America weather is favorable.
Cattle markets trading mixed as well. Starting out the day a bit lower here before coming back on strong in the past about 10 minutes or so. Live and feeders both pushing towards green numbers now. Kane says cattle markets still trading on fundamentals.
The closing of the packing plants yesterday sort of piled on to the cattle market. But you go back to the cattle on feed report that we saw on Friday, and we just aren't making any more cattle. That's all there is to it. Maybe we lowered the packer demand or competitiveness to get cattle a little bit with those plant closings. But I think in the end, we're going to have to see some cattle prices go back up, or this producer is going to say, why am I going to retain heifers and expand a cow herd that...
You are listening to the Red River Farm Network.
Selling farmland can be a once-in-a-lifetime decision. This is Chris Griffin with Red River Land Company in Grand Forks. With decades of experience in farm real estate, our company and its founder, John Botsford, understand the agricultural landscape and are here to help guide you through the process from start to finish. We encourage you to visit redriverlandco.com to check out our listings and recent sales. If you have land to sell or manage or just want to discuss the land market, let's talk. Red River Land Company, your trusted name in farm real estate.
Every acre needs its own plan, every field its own approach. That's why smart growers choose hybrids and varieties from Peterson. We don't just talk about research, we live it. With 40,000 test plots across the region, we're the Upper Midwest's leader in localized research. Our agronomists know what works, where, and why, backed by local data to help you increase bushels and reach your farm's potential. Peterson, seed smarter, grow stronger.
Red River Farm Network is your go-to source for farm news, markets, and weather. Trust Don Wick, Tyler Donaldson, Jamie Dickerman, and Drew Lerner, delivering the information that impacts your bottom line. We're the Red River Farm Network, and we're reporting agriculture's business.
30 years of reporting agriculture's business. Red River Farm Network.
Listen to the Dry Bean Scene every Friday here on the Red River Farm Network, brought to you by the North Harvest Bean Growers Association, Johnstown Bean Company, Gowan Company, SRS Commodities, and Heads Up Plant Protectants. We'll track this year's crop potential across the country and get industry perspectives on possible market impacts. It's the Dry Bean Scene every Friday, 12:35, right here on the Red River Farm Network.
December wheat Minneapolis is 3 1/4 higher to 571. Chicago December wheat's 3 1/4 higher to 525.5. KC hard red winter wheat's 3 1/4 up to 510.5. December corn up 1/4 cent to 424 1/4. January soybeans up 1/2 cent to 1123.5. January canola in Winnipeg's down 60 cents per metric ton to 643.60 Canadian. December live cattle up 15 cents to 207.35. January feeders 95 cents higher at 305.72. December hogs up a nickel, 78.25. Dow Jones Industrial Average right now is trading 264 points higher to 46,712. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Previously on the Under the Hood Show. When I was a kid, I had a chance to get a chemistry set.
I got
Only
the
I'd have
chemistry
known.
set, and I started experimenting with the baking soda and the vinegar thing, and how cool that was. And, of course, I had to overdo it like I do everything. And I got it on a little bigger level, and I got in a lot of trouble, and we had to buy new carpet for the living room. It was not good.
You should listen to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics right here, KBRF, 1250 a.m., every Saturday at 10 a.m.
This is Craig Olson. Join me every Saturday morning at 8 for the Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Football, basketball, soccer, hockey, volleyball, swimming, cross country. I interview area coaches to discuss the season, recap the last game, and preview upcoming games. Catch the live show at 8 on Saturday morning on News Talk 1250 KBRF and the live stream and archived shows at KBRFradio.com. Just click on Sports Streaming. The Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Gratitude runs deep when every day reflects who you are. At Pioneer Care, residents guide their own routines surrounded by warmth and familiar faces. Because having a voice each day is what peace of mind feels like. Pioneer Care in Fergus Falls. Visit pioneercare.org for more information.
News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone. We do have a winter weather advisory in effect until midnight tonight. Seeing our early high, and then we're going to just drop throughout the day. Looking at anywhere from 3 to 7 inches of snow possible, with a little bit more possible for tonight. 19 for tonight's low, 22 tomorrow's high, 20 for Thanksgiving, and 20 on Black Friday. Right now, Fergus Falls, a little bit of light rain and fog and mist. 36 degrees, winds on the northeast at 9, gusting 15. It's Morning Talk, brought to you this morning and every morning by our friends over at Pioneer Care and at Fergus Falls Monument Company.
All right, thanks, Dave. And we've got our guests in studio, and they were nice enough to come to Fergus Falls and to be with us in-house. And we were just talking about how it's more personal to have you right here with us. And we want to welcome Dan Lambert and Midshipman Avery Brown from the U.S. Naval Academy. And we're going to talk about some really interesting stuff. So, Dan, I want to dive right in because, like I told you, 25 minutes goes darn fast when you've got all this good stuff to say. So, first of all, welcome. Thank you for coming. And thanks for reaching out to me. And that's how we got connected. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what your role in all of this is.
Well, I am a retired commander in the U.S. Navy and a graduate of the Naval Academy in 1977.
Okay.
And I moved up here to Fergus Falls, the Fergus Falls area 5 years ago, have a house on 10 Mile Lake, and now I am a volunteer for the U.S. Naval Academy. And I look for and screen potential candidates for the Naval Academy. And the way we got connected was I happened to be a member of the American Legion Post 30.
Okay.
And Mary...
At the Legion. It's all making sense now.
Yep, and I went and asked Mary at the Grand High Poobah of the American Legion how to get a hold of you, and she said, well, here you go. Here's the phone number.
Here's the phone number. Well, anyway, the rest is history, right? Anyway, it's good to have you in. And so when you talk about screening applicants for the U.S. Naval Academy, what kinds of things are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for character and perseverance. I want to know if they will make an officer that I want to have aboard my ship, in my squadron, whatever. That's what I'm looking for, and I cover a lot of ground with a 1-hour interview that I conduct with each and every applicant that gets far enough in the application process.
Okay. Now, do you typically go and see them personally, or do you maybe start out on the phone, or how do you do that?
I'm in touch with them from the moment they start their application, because I've got an information system that leads me to them sponsored by the U.S. Naval Academy, and then I watch what they're doing, and I don't get any information but things that are accomplished. and either they're not done or they're done, and once they have 4 or 5 things done out of the 11 pieces they have to complete for the application, I contact them and say, I need an interview, and please bring your parents along, and then I talk to the parents for 20 minutes or however long it takes to satisfy their questions. Then I ask them to leave the room, and I should say we, my wife Sandra is with me, and we then interview the candidate.
My guess is you've met some pretty outstanding young men.
Just like Avery.
Yeah. Well, Avery, he talked very highly about you when he connected with me, and we're going to get to you in just a sec. But so tell me about how competitive this process is.
Well, there are 15,000 applications started every year, and that's
Wow.
more than any of the Ivy Leagues get. And there's only about 2,500 or so people complete those applications, and there's probably 1,200 or so seats. In my class, there were 1,400 seats that were filled right after the Vietnam War. But so it's very competitive. You've got to be an A student. Most of the people I interview are National Honor Society students. A lot of high schools are awful small around here, and they don't join the National Honor Society. Most of and almost all of the candidates I look at have some local leadership experience.
That's important, I'm sure, for somebody like you who's looking at the application.
Captain of a sports team, leader of a band, leader of a
some organization in school or something.
Student council,
Sure.
And then their extracurricular activities. And Boy Scouts are a great one. I'd love to see more of them. And we don't get enough applicants here in the 7th District of Minnesota.
Okay.
Where I've got, I've been at this 3 years, and I've got one candidate that's gotten to the academy, and Ms. Fischbach is allowed to have 5 candidates at the academy. Right now, there are only 2.
Okay. So this is a bit of a marketing venture right here, right?
It is a bit of a marketing adventure.
That's great.
But the education is free. Nobody has to. Nobody, not the student or the family, has to go into debt
oh boy, there's a big deal
for this
right
really
there.
expensive education, and they come out. They're commissioned as an officer in the Navy or the Marine Corps, and they have a job.
Right.
So it's all to the good, and I've interviewed now about 20 people over the last 3 years. I've got and one of them made it in. One of them last year got an appointment, then had the bad judgment to go to the Air Force Academy.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, I know that you and I, when we talked a little bit about Avery, you had just glowing comments for him, and Avery, it's been an incredible ride, I think, so far for you, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, tell me how you got interested in the U.S. Naval Academy.
Well, originally, I didn't hear anything from my school on any service academies whatsoever. I originally found interest between my neighbor's son-in-law, who was actually a grad, and he is now currently a nuclear-trained submarine officer in the Navy in 2005. And I dug a little more and found out that a recent grad that also graduated from my high school is now at the Naval Academy. So,
and your high school, kind of local.
Yes, Detroit Lakes High School.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
Yeah, it's great to see that another one of my classmates is now there at the academy. So between those two connections, that was really what drew me to the academy.
Okay. So currently, what's your major?
So my major right now is aerospace engineering. So we're learning about very cool things to do with wings and aerodynamics and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so what would you say is your hope after graduation? What do you hope to be doing?
My hope after graduation is to commission as a naval aviator and go down to Pensacola to do flight school.
Wow. You got it mapped out, and you're 20.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my goodness. Well, is it all that you kind of thought it would be? I mean, was it as you expected when you got there?
No, it is nothing like I expected. Most of my classmates there do visits beforehand. This is my first time stepping foot there.
You just dove in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What'd you think? What were your initial reactions?
Initial reactions, nothing like the movies. Not like all the yelling. But no, it was definitely something that I wanted to work towards and accomplish.
Was it harder than you assumed, or because of all the movies we've watched and, like you said, all the screaming and yelling and I mean, you expect it to be difficult, right?
I mean, in a sense, yes. I didn't think it was going to be as hard or as easy as people might think. What really surprised me most is the amount of character development that takes place there. I really saw a difference in myself between, I mean, senior year of high school and right now. I think I've changed a lot in that sense.
I feel like you've grown up a lot more than your years of 20.
Yes, that's what people tell me, at least.
Yeah. Well, when you told me you were 20, I mean, you look young, but to get where you've gotten by age 20 is pretty remarkable. Did you even consider other schools or colleges?
I did. So if I wasn't going to get accepted at the Naval Academy, I was going to do NROTC, so Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps at University of Minnesota down in the Twin Cities. That was going to be my next option. Otherwise, I also considered North Dakota State University and University of Colorado Boulder.
Okay. So how is the application process a lot different, let's say, University of Minnesota?
Yes, I'd say it is pretty different. The academy definitely focuses a lot more on adversities that you faced and how you deal with that, and more so what you can do for the Navy and your country versus what they can do for you. That's a big focus. They had a lot of short answer essay questions on that, and just trying to see how you'd respond to those kind of questions.
Okay, I'm going to ask a mom question. What did mom say when you said you were applying for the United States Naval Academy?
She kind of thought it was great. I mean,
really? Okay, good.
There were questions
initially. You can understand, I'm sure, that when you interview parents, Stan, that there are some parents that, you know, are, while proud as they can be, there's a little, is this the right thing?
There's a little angst, but almost every person I interview, and this year of 6 people I've interviewed so far, 5 of them had a service connection.
Okay.
Through their family. One where it might have been a grandfather, might have been an uncle, might be their mother or father.
Sure. Any connection in your family?
Yes. So my father and uncle were both submariners on
there you go.
nuclear-powered submarines.
Well, I mean, what else were you going to do, right? Okay, so how much school do you have left before graduation?
So I'm on my sophomore year right now, almost halfway through, coming up on Christmas right now.
Okay.
So you do a total of 4 years, just like any other civilian college or university. And afterwards, you commission as an ensign or second lieutenant in the Navy or Marine Corps, just like Dan said. Okay. And then the minimum service commitment is 5 years, and that can vary depending on which path you choose.
Okay. But you're going to have wings. That's your goal, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, okay. Has that always been something that's interested you?
I mean, I've always been interested in space and aerodynamics and stuff like that. I'd say that's why I probably chose my major, aerospace engineering. But that's definitely not correlated with naval aviator as a future job. It's just something that kind of lines up a little bit.
Do you have any feelings with regard to what is going on around our world? And you know, there's lots of unrest in lots of different places, and there's lots of question as to whether or not the United States would become involved in any of that conflict. Any of that weigh on you a little bit?
It definitely does. I think any person you should be concerned in those matters. As far as we go, we just feel like college students on a day-to-day.
Okay.
We're focused on
well, that's
school
great. I'm
and
glad
getting
to hear
trained
you
up.
say that, yeah.
Yes, but it is definitely something to keep in your mind, but we have full trust in our chain of command.
Okay, wow, well said at 20. That's amazing. It's no wonder you were impressed by this guy, Dan, for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we all, everybody who puts on a uniform, all those veterans at the Legion, we all face hardships and hazards.
Absolutely.
And that's what Avery will face after he's commissioned.
Yeah. Well, we can't thank you enough for even wanting to go through the training and for your future service to this country. People are very proud and very grateful.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, so tell me, so college life is college life, kind of, right?
I say college life. I mean, that's the only college life I've ever experienced, but we definitely have way more restrictions on what we can do. You have to put through requests to go out and leave on the weekend and spend overnights. Everybody stays on campus every night. It's one large dormitory, actually the largest in the country. About 4,000 people sleep in one building. So.
Oh my goodness, that makes me anxious right there. That's a big dorm.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
4,000 people. Wow, that's great. Met some good friends, I'm sure, already over the last year and a half.
Some that I'll believe to be lifetime friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's great. Well, I'm sure that even now that you are volunteering, I mean, my guess is your career is one that's really difficult to walk away from completely.
Well, this is the payback to the Navy.
Right, exactly.
They gave me an education. They employed me for 20 years. I was employed in the defense industry for another 17, 18 years, and then before I retired, I was back in the Navy as a civil servant for a few years.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for your many years of service.
It was my decision and my pleasure.
Yeah, that's great. I'd love to hear stories like that. What would you, Avery, say to other high school sophomores, juniors, seniors?
I'd say just try to get as many experiences as possible. The Academy is looking for well-rounded people. Not only do they want someone athletically fit, but they also want someone who challenges themselves mentally and strives to go the extra mile on whatever they're doing. They're really looking for work ethic, and I think that's one of the more important things that they can look for in candidates.
What do you think were some of the highlights of your high school career that enabled you to become part of the Naval Academy?
Well, it is always hard to talk about yourself.
Well, that's okay. I asked you, so.
But from hearing what Dan said and what others said, I guess it's just how well-rounded they see me to be. I'm not too focused on one particular thing. I like to branch out and be a jack of all trades in some sense.
All right, not afraid to try something new. For sure.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, all right. Well, it sounds like you have got a very bright future. And so, Dan, what can we tell people about, maybe they've got a son, but maybe they've got someone in their family who they think might potentially be interested. What are their next steps?
Well, first off, they should just get on the Academy website, usna.edu/admissions, and that will lead them to all the information that you can collect about the Academy, and it will also allow them to start their application.
Okay.
Now, we're at the end of the application cycle right now, and people have until 31 January of next year to apply. In about 6 months, the Academy will open up new applications for then the class of 2031.
Okay.
And so if you're a junior in high school right now, you'd want to be submitting that application starting next spring, next summer.
Okay.
Also, there's, and I should make mention of, there are preparatory schools for the Naval Academy.
Okay.
That involves another year of education and either with the Navy itself, the Naval Academy Prep School, or at a foundation school that's paid for by the Naval Academy Alumni Foundation, or by the USNA Foundation. And that involves, like I said, an extra year of school, but it helps prepare young men and women to get just a little bit more education. Many times we find that we like the character, but we're not sure that they'll survive that they'll do well in some of the advanced calculus, physics, chemistry courses that they'll have to take, and so that helps prepare them for the academics at the Academy, which is very rigorous and very hard.
Absolutely, yeah. What about the application process, Avery? Did you find it really difficult, or is it something that was not so terrible to wade through, if you will?
Well, it was definitely something I took differently than the other college applications. I definitely poured my heart out a little more into this one. Especially at the end, you do a personal statement saying why you think you should become a midshipman at the Naval Academy and what makes you a good candidate. And I think that really made me rethink a lot of things I've done in my life and how I want to approach this. And like I said, I poured my heart into it a lot.
Well, it sounds like this is where you were meant to be, and sounds like things are going very well for you. And yeah, I think it's exciting, and I just love to hear somebody, a young man like yourself, being so committed to serving this country. That's certainly to be commended.
Well, and one thing that we haven't mentioned that that each applicant has to go through is they have to have a nomination.
Okay.
And that's a separate process altogether. Michelle Fischbach can nominate 10 people to each academy, and there are 5 academies, besides 4 others besides Annapolis, and that nomination has to be in place before anybody gets an appointment.
Okay.
So all the federally elected people, senators, congressmen, the vice president, they each get 10 nominations per academy, and they can have 5 people at the academy.
Okay. Now, this sounds complicated to me anyway, and I'm sure that some of the people tuning in are thinking, oh my goodness, that sounds like a rigorous process. Is there someone like yourself or someone that people could talk to find out more? Sometimes more than just going on the internet and reading a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody who's been through it, knows what they're doing.
They can talk to me. They can send a note to the academy.
Okay.
And the academy will get them in touch with the person who's up the food chain for me in the organization.
Okay.
And then I'll get
That's great.
an email, and I've had a couple of students.
Because sometimes it's just nice to have this personal connection. Just like it's good to have you guys here in the studio rather than on the phone. It's a lot more personal, and I think there's a lot of people that just what they've heard today, it sounds complicated, and to some degree it is.
It definitely is.
Yeah, yeah, and so nice to have somebody.
And should be. The taxpayers are paying a lot of money.
Absolutely.
For
this. But it would be nice to know that you have somebody to help you along the way if you need it. Well, I told you 25 minutes goes fast. We're up against the clock. See what I mean?
We're right.
All right. Well, thank you both for your service. Thank you for your hard work going through the academy. It would be fun to follow up, so let's stay in touch. All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much for
Yeah, it'd
having
be
us
fun to
on.
have you back. All right, that's going to wrap up our show. Dan Lambert and Midshipman Avery Brown, our guests. Our show today and every day is brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Monument Company. Have a great day.